Toastmaster Jacob, addictions. Addictions, Toastmaster Alex Jacob. Over to you, and all the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. What comes to your mind when I ask you, or rather I tell you the word addiction? You may unmute and share some thoughts.
Drugs, social media.
Social media, all right.
Cigarettes.
Cigarettes, yeah. Anything else?
That is anything that you cannot come out of it.
Anything that you cannot come out of, I think that was a very close to perfect definition. All right, so thank you all respondents, and thank you Toastmaster of the Day for the introduction and guests. So there's something called dopamine in our cells, which gives us pleasurable sensations. And that is one of the reasons why we get into this addiction mode, be it in social media, be it drug, alcohol, which are the earlier convention wherein which we used to define addictions. But things are largely changing. Today, I would like to take your thought process to a completely different arena, which probably you might not be aware, some might be aware. And I want to talk about 3 different addictions, which is actually been part of the humanity for a very long time, but probably it has not been recognized as addiction. The number one addiction which I'd like to share is the addiction for power. So researchers have found that the number one addictions in the world is actually the addiction for power. And one of the key people, or the large number of people who use this is politicians, if you see that. Sometimes you wonder why, what's their motivation level, right? To go and lie throughout their career and kill people, create disharmony in the whole system. Why? So when we look carefully down, we also understand that that is one of the reasons why they get the dopamine effect in their brain cells. They feel good about it. And once they feel good about it, that particular position and people and the environment they will naturally try to set in. And we have a lot of examples why power addiction is the number one addiction in the world. And that is the same with any person who is in the power and been using that power. Can be a religious person who's been telling a lot about the religion and trying to convince people. In a way, what he's trying to do is to convince people so that people accept his views and beliefs, that then he can be in a state for a very, very long time. It has been seen in the corporate world because, especially in the Indian continent, I was having a good conversation with one of the expats who's living in Chennai. And I asked him, what is that one leadership quality which you think Indians should improve? And what he was categorically saying that Indians should get out of the addictions for power, especially titles. The moment you give them any title which has no meaning, they will go for it. They will die for it. They will do anything for the organization of people they want to do. So in a way, he was indirectly saying the power of addiction in India is relatively very high compared to others. Right, so we'll go to the next point, which I'd like to tell is the addiction to fame. While all human beings love to be in limelight, love to be cared for, and be wanted. However, not everybody will get it. Especially in Toastmasters, if you have seen that everybody wants to reach some limelight. In Toastmasters, we give that limelight, right, in different forms every 6 months. And people are happy about it. But let's look at a little larger and a holistic perspective of the fame. Number one place where the fame takes a lot of interest is in the celebrity world, be it in the movies, be it in the singing, be it in any music or any sports or anywhere else. The fame has such an addictive behavior. Once it gets into your DNA, and once you achieve that success of fame once, you always want to be. You will die and you wanted to do anything for that. It is similar to power, but unlike the power of addiction, the addiction to power, this addiction to fame has a slightly different effect on human mind. They usually don't do any harm to others. It is all about them. It is about them doing something. It is them, the people praising them. It is they receiving some awards. It is they being in the limelight. It is people clapping for them. So one of the classical examples in which when we study the cause of death of Sri Devi, the erstwhile actress, who was known for maintaining his beauty and whatever related to her, the glamour or whatever we say. Even at the age of 56, she often heard the word like, oh, she looks younger and she looks like a 30-year-old, a 35-year-old. In a way, what they were trying to say is she's been addicted to that idea that she's still younger and younger. She used to use a lot of drugs to maintain herself. She used to do a lot of diet procedure, which is very, very complicated, just to stay in limelight. And of course, the reports have not been out yet. Of course, they won't release it. What is the reason? But of course, one of the major reasons why in which she got into the heart attack was this addiction to fame, and the effects to that. And the third, which I would like to share about the addiction to money or wealth creation, rather. And this is something which we may not relate immediately because everybody around us want some kind of money or something of wealth for sure. A friend of mine who's been in the United Kingdom from 2006 onwards, we've been always having a conversation, but every time, every 2 or 3 years, when we have the kind of a meeting or a conversation, one thing stands out, one thing comes out from this person is, I bought a house. Now, after 13, 14 years in the UK, can you believe the number of houses he bought in the UK? He bought 6 to 7 houses in the UK, 3 to 4 houses in India. I have absolutely no idea what will you do with 10 houses. Okay. So in a way, it is what we are trying to say is that's also an addiction. Sometimes we are not aware of it. There are examples in which wealth addiction. There are a lot of people do anything for a living, but they forget about a living. Having said that, there are addictions in different forms: social media, alcohol, drugs. So many different addictions are there. Two things probably we all can do to get out of the addiction is, number one is the awareness. Right? I am addicted to this whole process. And second, and most important thing is to change the environment. Changing the environment means what else can give the brain a dopamine effect instead of this addiction that can take me to a different high. So these are my humble thoughts on addiction, and I request all of you to be aware of these kind of addictions which probably are around us, but we may not be aware of it, and that can change our lives in good and bad ways. Be aware of it. Thank you so much, and over to Toastmaster of the Day.